Hey everyone, this is Sage Valentine, and this is my review of Survivor, Season 28, Episode 8 of Brains versus Beauty versus Brawn. I'm dumbfounded by this episode because I lost yet another player from my list, and my main player is kicking ass and taking names, and I'm all here for it. I am going to say this again until it sounds like a complete broken record. What show have these people been watching? What game are they playing? And how stupid can you be? And yes, this goes to, spoiler alert, yes, this goes to LJ. How stupid can you be to be that comfortable in this game? Apparently, you do not watch Survivor at all, so this will go down in this video log complete playlist. You will go through each one of my videos and you're going to hear the same thing. This is the season of the people who did not watch this show, have probably never watched this show. I mean, actually watched it. And they're sitting here playing this game, and I'm not going to say all of them, but a majority of them are playing this game like these people are family. These people can be trusted. You trust no one in Survivor. Fans since day one, you trust no one in Survivor. I don't care how nice and sweet they are. You trust no one. You trust them as far as you can throw them, in fact. I am just too done with Solarian. Ever since they merged, it's just been a big ball of crazy. So let's get to it, so I can get to my review, because I promise I will not keep you guys too long, because I'm just completely angry at this episode and mostly angry at LJ, but I'll get through it. David, Garrett, Bryce, Jatia, Cliff, Lindsay, Alexis, and Morgan are the following contestants that have been voted out. However, we have to add Mr. LJ to that list, because LJ, I don't know what game he's playing, or he was playing, but he just let Tony walk him out of this game completely. All right, it's day 22. They get back after tribal council, after Morgan was voted out. Tony's still on this paranoid high where he's like basically kind of trying to draw out Spencer and Tasha and maybe Jeremiah just a tad bit. Spencer knows that Tony's a threat. Tony starts talking about Morgan was not worthy to play the game. Honestly, Tony is having delusions of grandeur. He honestly thinks that he runs this game because he has so much power. But those in this game who feel like they are super powerful do not make it that far. It's the ones who sit in the cut, as they say, watch all of this happen, and then emerge victorious in the end. Tony is after Wu at first, just like the production and the producers and whoever made the trailer for last week for basically into this week's episode. Wu was the main target. And Tony's talking to LJ, and somehow he manipulates it. It makes it sound like LJ said, let's blindside Wu. So Tony takes this little tidbit that he created and drags this heifer along. So he goes up to Tasha, says he kept Tasha. I'm looking at this like, Tony, you didn't keep anybody. Tasha kept herself, because Tasha was been playing the hell out of this game, even though she was on a crappy team. And she's on nothing but crappy teams, but she's giving it her all, and she's kicking ass. Tasha said, you know what? She was like, if you guys had come to us and said, we wanted you to get Morgan out, we would have been on to it. She's talking about herself, Spencer, and Jeremiah, because that's a tight three. Cass is on her own, even though she thinks she's high on the hog because she can bounce back and forth. Cass is on her own, and you never want to be by yourself at this point in the game. LJ's talking to Trish. They say that Tony's paranoid and like his mind is going, the wheels are turning, and he's scrambling fast. And Trish is like, paranoia is big trouble. Tony goes to LJ and he's like, he tells him he couldn't sleep because his name was on the block last week and blah, blah. I don't know why he thought he would never be on the block. Rarely has a contestant gone through however many weeks in Survivor and never had their name on the block. So he must think he's untouchable, I guess. Tony realizes he wants LJ out, and his whole thing to us is that he wants to trick him into breaking a promise. So, like I said, I was like looking down. Hopefully I got this right, but it sounded like he manipulated, like LJ just casually said something about Wu and he just whipped it around like, let's blindside Wu. So Tony said he's going to create a lie and run around with and telling people LJ wants Wu out. Then they show this cute hairy spot, like caterpillar coming out of this tree, and I'm like, oh, I love those little animals, the insects. I love them all. They're so adorable. Even that spider with the big, huge spider thingies. He was just cute. But anyway, Tony wants to win the reward challenge because by winning the reward challenge, especially at this point in the game, this is the challenge, whereas this is the point in the game when people win the reward challenges, like it'll be a spa or like a boat trip or something, and they go off on their own with their little group and they start strategizing. So Tony's gung-ho. He's got to win this thing because if anybody's going to make strategy, he's going to make a strategy. So it's a spa reward, and as luck will have it, Tony wins. And I'm glad he won, because if he didn't win, he'd be back at camp just complaining off the charts. And I'm like, Tony, really, I've had enough of you this episode. But again, I'm not as mad at you as I am at LJ. So Tony comes up with this idea. He wants to blindside LJ and talk Spencer and Jeremiah into it. And I'm saying, please, you two, don't be stupid, which they prove that they're not stupid. And Jeffra back at camp is just like, it's best if the six of us stick to oh man, it's best if the six of us stick together. So LJ tells Trish about Tony being paranoid and about Wu having it, something about Wu having an idol. Wu doesn't have that idol. We all know Spencer has that idol. And LJ says he trusts Tony. This is the same damn thing he says through this whole episode. I trust Tony. I trust Tony. I'm like, why are you trusting Tony? All the underhanded things he's done. LJ, I thought that you had more sense than this. But anyway, Trish tells LJ that she'll talk to Tony and tell him to cool it down about Wu because Wu does not have an idol. So Tony's talking to Spencer. Spencer said he's down in this game, but he's not out. And he said that he's telling us that he can get his right-hand man, Jeremiah, on board with this. So Tony's like, basically, Spencer wants to pick Tony's ear. Tony says he's never comfortable and he's going to hang in. He tells them to hang in when the time comes. Spencer knows that they are pawns, meaning him, Jeremiah, and of course Tasha, because Tasha's a part of it. And they are desperate. And that Tony thinks he runs it. Tony says he wants to keep Spencer and Jeremiah as his little puppets, and then when he wants to make a big move, he's going to tell them to help him make that move. Jeremiah has his doubts, and he feels like Tony could be getting them pumped up to vote them out. Jeremiah, you're smart. Regardless of the little backstabbing thing you did earlier, I'm going to give you a pass only on this because you picked it up, and Spencer did as well. He didn't trust him, but he's going to tell Tony he trusts him. But I'm just like, LJ can't leave at this point because I'm rooting like hard for him. He's a part of my triumvirate in this game. Like, come on. Tasha is, if that's how you use the word, but Tasha is in a 3-person alliance, like I said, with Jeremiah and Spencer, and they're up against the 6. She comes up with this idea to try to convince LJ to flip on Tony. But LJ's like, he trusts Tony. So he stands her up and she's just standing there waiting. He's basically afraid for Tony to see him. I'm like, LJ, who the hell cares? This is a game here. You could have snuck off. No one would have seen you. Tony might sneak around, but Tony at that point was so paranoid. He was off on his own thing. I really don't think Tony would have seen you. But as luck will have it, Miss Tasha won immunity. And I was just like, woo! The whole time because I was just happy, trying not to scream too loud because every episode I'm like screaming like Tasha won immunity, so I'm happy. A lot of people were upset because they say, LJ like LJ, now it's LJ's in big trouble. LJ was in big trouble the moment that he gave his idol to Tony. That was a stupid move. I don't care. You won that idol. You keep that idol for yourself. You don't save anybody in this game because it comes back to bite you in the behind. Next, you'll tell me on Big Brother that they can take the golden veto and pass it around through the circle. I don't think so. No. Stupid move for both of you. Stupid. Just about as dumb as what Woo did last week when he ran around with the clue. Spencer has the clue. I'm like, Woo, how you gonna win this game if you're playing tattletale? No. And so Tony sets LJ up. He says that he wants to pin the troublemaking on him before he gets the idea to do it. Now, LJ's trusting Tony. Tony's like, listen, he's just as strong as me. I want to get him the hell out of here. Woo all of a sudden wants to vote LJ out because here comes Tony telling him, well, LJ thought that you had an immunity idol. And I was like, Woo, I thought you weren't that stupid, but apparently you are. And LJ is plotting. Spencer claims that LJ is plotting to get out Woo. And Spencer wants to... Is it Spencer? And I think Spencer said he wants to work with him. I'm not sure if he said he wanted to work with LJ or Tony or Woo. One of those three he wanted to work with. And Jeremiah's down with Tony. And Jeremiah's down with it. So Trish is like on a seesaw. Like she's not sure if she could believe Tony who's against LJ and LJ who wants to get Woo out. No, LJ who is like against Woo, quote unquote. So she's not even sure, and she's like, I'm not stupid. She was like, I'm something, but I'm not stupid. I'm not gonna break up the six. So we all know at this point, Trish didn't want to break up the six. Jeffra didn't want to break up the six. So Tony basically says he has to kiss ass and get rid of Jeremiah and Spencer to appease the group. Well, apparently, he didn't do enough kissing ass, or he just told us one thing and production didn't let us see the rest of it, because Jeff Probst goes to Cass and he's like talking to Cass and he says, Cass is the reason for the division in the game. So basically he's showing everybody like, listen, look at Cass sitting here. Y'all have her here and you're infighting. Get this one out. I'm saying the same thing at the beginning of the episode. I'm like, get Cass out. They don't get Cass out. So Cass like, you can't play the game without getting a little dirty. I'm like, Cass, your number is slowly coming up. When Tony finishes, and now he got out LJ, he's going to get out Woo, and then you're next. So Tony claims he brought his bag of tricks. Now at this point, I'm just like, so that whole Spencer and Jeremiah thing is crap. And apparently, he's coming after LJ, and I'm sitting there like gritting my teeth and like biting my nails, like, damn it, don't get LJ out of here. So, Tasha makes a comment now. Tasha is the one sitting in the cut with Spencer and Jeremiah. Tasha's like, alliances appear tight, but there are fractures. LJ counters with, he took a step back, and he's watching because people are looking for fractures. I'm like, LJ, are you stupid? You figured out that Morgan was up there on that thing looking for an idol. You peeped a whole bunch of people's whole cards. So explain to me how you can be this blinded towards Tony. You're as bad as Sarah. Probably even worse than Sarah, because Sarah wasn't licking Tony's boots. So, and I think he mentions, can you be a player or a person? And I'm looking at him like, what does that have anything to do with this? Because you're not playing the game. If you were playing the game, Tony would have been gone a long time ago. A long time, because LJ as a player could have led this tit of like going for the goal. But no. So Spencer's thinking like, how can I put myself in a position to win? So they get to the tribal council and like they get to the whole voting part. And I should not be so surprised, but unfortunately I am, because the votes get down and they mention a couple for LJ, then 3 for Jeremiah, then 1 for Spencer, and then there's like 1 more vote down, and you're wondering who's got the next vote. And it's LJ, and LJ is voted out. And I'm here like, if only LJ had like taken up Tasha on her offer, they could have worked together, pulled in Jeffra, and they could have worked together and demolished that 6. completely. Unfortunately, considering that there's 5 votes there for LJ, so you have to take into account Spencer, Jeremiah, Tasha, Wu, and more than likely Tony. Trish probably voted out Spencer. And the other 3 probably grabbed on to Jeremiah. So Tasha was 100% correct. There are fractures in that group. They tried not to show it, but unfortunately it's showing and it's breaking fast. So now they're down to 5 versus 3, and that 5 is probably going to topple over even lower. So he basically said, LJ's home. Well, he's joining Sarah and Morgan in the jury. So now I lost one of my players again. So now I'm only left with Tasha, Jeremiah, and Spencer. And according to next week, because Wu was on my list until he did what he did last week, on top of what he did a couple weeks ago with the whole thing with Cliff. Apparently Wu falls out of a tree and hurts his back, so they're down to 4-3 in Cass. So I don't know how this is going to go, but this episode, like I said, made me mad because of LJ. I didn't think LJ was that gullible, but apparently he was, because he wasn't paying attention to anything going on in front of his face. So, this episode wasn't slow, but this episode was just pissing me off, and there was a blind side, but it wasn't like a gigantic blind side. Like, it would have been a huge blind side if it had been Tony, but it was an upsetting blind side, and a lot of people on social media are pissed, like me. So, anywho, guys, thank you for tuning in to my whole Survivor review, and definitely stay tuned and check out my reviews of Believe, The Following, Hannibal, and Fargo pretty soon. And as far as who I think could possibly win this game, I'm rooting for Tasha, hoping Tasha gets to the end. She might be one of the final 4 or the final 3, but if they let Tony do what he's doing, Tony's going to end up in the end, of course. So, because he's making it too interesting for production, so they may do something to keep his butt in the game. But anywho, I'm kidding. I don't think they do that, but I'm going by all the tweets and all the stuff about the people that are all upset. But anyway, guys, thanks for tuning in. Check me out on my blogs. I hope you can handle it on Blogger. The Truth is on WordPress. 1,000 Heartbeats on Tumblr, and at Sage Valentine on Twitter. So thanks for tuning in again. Enjoy yourselves. Hopefully you guys are going to be watching Scandal, because Scandal's going to be pretty badass. And if you haven't seen Captain America, definitely go see Captain America. Anywho, thanks for tuning in. Have an awesome rest of your Wednesday and a great week. And I'll see you guys Friday with Hannibal. Bye, guys. Bye.